I played or sampled 30 games on this channel in 2024, and while I considered recapping all of them, that's perhaps a bit much for a single video. Instead, I've done my best to narrow them down to my top 5 experiences, with a bonus top 5 speed round for the games I only got to demo. This ranking is of course highly subjective, and unfortunately leaves out a number of games that I genuinely enjoyed playing and which I would gladly recommend or mention here. I struggled to narrow them down this far, to be honest, but in the end, these are the results. I'm ranking Arco last on this list because I haven't finished it yet and cannot speak of it in completion. I'm ranking it on this list despite that because what I've seen so far is fantastic. I may occasionally get stuck in combat, hits are brutal and numbers are kept low enough that every hit point matters, but that's not unusual for me. The graphics are very well done, from the simplest pixel sprites still being readable, to the detailed set pieces and backgrounds that fade into the far distance, to the harmony of the color palettes used. This game is gorgeous. The music is lovely and fits events well, the character writing and world building strike me as complex and intriguing, and it's a fresh departure from the stock standard pseudo-medieval Europe fantasy setting. I look forward to seeing this game through to its conclusion. You'll definitely be seeing more of it on my channel in 2025. While Traveler's Rest got an update this year, bringing some story elements into it, it doesn't feel like a completed story as of yet. Certain regions remain locked, certain mysteries remain mysterious, and the promise of the premise that the greatest innkeeper in the realm becomes the Innkeeper King remains unfulfilled. As such, it can't be ranked well on its writing alone. Instead, what brings it to the list is the genuine fun of the gameplay and the charming visual style. According to my Steam recap, Traveler's Rest was my second most played game this year, eclipsed only by Stardew Valley, and I can believe it. It's very easy to settle into the flow of the game and just keep going, as there's always something else to do. I do hope that the future of this game continues to update and develop the story that it has barely begun, and that further expansions of both gameplay and world may occur. Until then, I will likely keep returning to my inn from time to time, just to spend another handful of days there. The most recent release of my list, Tiny Glade, is still undergoing minor tweaks and additions as the developers swap bugs, smooth gameplay, and take player desires into account. I personally find it somewhat taxing graphically. While nothing rattles in my computer while I play it, it does sound like it spins up pretty hard, but given time and further dev tweaking, that may be resolved. There's no story here, no challenges or goals. This is a true sandbox game. Whether you build a lonely tower, a sprawling castle, a cramped town, or a pastoral landscape is fully up to you. The game does include daily build suggestions if you ever want to play but have no idea what to do, though. This is a fantastic game for unwinding, as the build mechanics and procedural generation are very satisfying. I love fairy tales, and Witchwood is built on their bones. Slightly dark, with a somewhat weathered storybook visual style and a plot that borrows from a variety of tales and their underpinnings, there was a lot here to love. I enjoyed the blend of predictable and surprising elements, and while the actual crafting and gathering based gameplay could become a little grindy, and heavens help you if you lacked just one necessary item in the endgame, when the recipe relied on the results of other recipes in a long branching tree, it was, nevertheless, fun and fitting to the main character and the role they had in the stories that unfolded. The ultimate end of the tale, in one part, left me wanting. How did all those we brought to their ultimate punishment wrong the sleeping maiden? Did they all wrong her? Or were only a few personally involved, and the goat merely took advantage of our needs and wants to catch the full dozen? The narrative itself does address this, but merely to say that it hardly matters in the end, and to be very fair, there are fairy tales that leave elements open to future interpretation. Perhaps that backstory is ours to speculate on in that tradition. But the other part of the ending, the relation of the witch to the maiden, struck me as fantastic and was not a twist I saw coming. This was well worth playing, and I'd definitely recommend it. The usual conceit of a game over or other fail state in an RPG leading to a retry from a past save point is that the failure is not canon to the story, that it exists only on our side of the fourth wall, and that success is the intended state of a completed story. in the shoes of the characters, they pass every challenge and win every battle, even if it may be difficult, because that is the only path the story can take to make sense. This game makes the game over retry moments canon. It's a wonderful marriage of game mechanics and narrative by integrating a time loop into the story and making the focus character, Siffrin, the only one in their RPG party aware of such loops. This also means that his growing frustration with retreading old ground and their growing tendency to see it all as a made-up story that he only needs to give the correct inputs to advance, actually align him closer to a player than a character in their own way, and it's a fascinating effect to explore. The graphics make beautiful use of black and white, with an in-world explanation making that canon as well. Color doesn't exist here, but once it did, in Legends from long ago. The story is brilliant and emotional, the characters complex and layered, the culmination of it all heart-wrenching in the best way. I definitely cried. I admit I got a little lost in the grind toward the start, but as a whole, it's a very good game, and definitely deserves the top spot in what I played this year. As a bonus speed round, here are some of the demos I sampled this year, ranked according to how much I might want to play them, either when they come out or when I actually get around to purchasing them. As such, you may be seeing these again on this channel in the future. Let me know if you had any favorites among what I played, either having played it yourself or just from seeing it around, or if you've got a top 5 list of your own, or if there's anything you're looking forward to in 2025. Until then, enjoy the rest of the holidays, and have a happy new year!